ते मयि सन्तु, ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, the mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become efficient, strong. All is verily the one without second, absolute, ever blissful, ever perfect, existence itself, the Brahman. May I never deny this truth of one without second, blissful existence. Let the Brahman never reject me either. I am aware that experiencing Brahman in life requires cultivation of certain virtues spoken of by the scriptures. May all those virtues be with me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us try to feel the all-pervading existence itself. By imagining we are like ice cubes in a huge heap of ice cubes. Everything around, everything that we see is another ice cube, all different. We feel we are different. We identify with our particular size, particular width and depth and height. Our particular weight. We connect with other ice cubes. Some, as it were, become my parents. Some become like my children, my siblings, my friends, my foes. But now the temperatures are rising. All ice cubes are losing shape. I too am changing, losing shapes. Oh, then what was I? What really I am? What are all ice cubes around me? Are they their shapes? Am I my shape? The question comes up. No, we all are the same. We see that they all melt. All is the one water. There is no particularized water from this ice cube or another ice cube. There is no I, no mine. Let us feel this true intrinsic oneness. Now everything is perfect. There is no drag for anything. I am all that is. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin today's discussion on this great ancient text where the truths are told through very interesting and educative stories. So, and that makes it very easy for us to grasp the truth. That is the purpose of a story, that you have an interest in listening this story. If you are being given just dry philosophy or intricate logic, then soon the mind becomes tired. And we do not pay much attention to it. But tell a story, and then even the children, they become very attentive and listen with great concentration and remember things. I was, in our long ago in children's camp, somehow the children start discussing the Harry Potter, and then their faces were glowing so much, as if they were seeing those events that they read in the book, and they read with such intent. Even before that, a family came here and they had a daughter. Now that daughter was not willing to come because she wanted to read that book, Harry Potter. So the parents assured, okay, you can keep on reading, we won't disturb you. And really she was not paying attention to anything else, constantly reading that book. Her eating, she was taking food, it was worth, it was nice to observe. No attention what is going in the mouth, something that is food, that's all. So the all attention was absorbed by this story. And in that incident in children's camp, they were saying that remembering every incident. So see the power of story. We also witnessed, when that Ramayana and Mahabharata serials were shown on TV in India. We used to have our mobile dispensary on Sundays also. So we used to go the Sunday, at that time the serial would be telecast, and the streets would be all empty. It is everybody is watching that serial, that TV. Since the TVs were not with everybody, whosoever a little richer person in the village would have a TV, or a community center in the village would have a TV, and everybody would just flock there. So we also decided that okay, we also will stop somewhere during that episode, because nobody is coming to take medicine or get examined, as if the Ramayana and Mahabharata are curing their diseases. So it is the power of story to bring the truths. That is what we see in this Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us begin at the beginning, that is the opening chant. So recite as loudly as you can. That Janmadyasya yatonvayaditarat Schaर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. That from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsists, just as the combination of materials like fire, water, and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. This truth supreme is the goal of life. We all want to experience that knowingly or unknowingly. The supreme truth, it is, Swami Vivekananda explains it. Today happens to be, his birth anniversary, although we are celebrating it on Sunday. So, his birth anniversary, according to the lunar calendar, is today. So, he explains in the book Jnana Yoga that suppose somebody is going to sun and then taking pictures of the sun from every stage, and then also moving this place, that place, to take other pictures of the sun. Now, all these pictures would be different, but all will be the pictures of the sun. So the sun is the supreme truth. All these pictures are the relative partial manifestations of that truth. So what we see in this world through our little mind and the senses, it is only a very partial manifestation and distorted also, because as our sense organs are, so the truth gets distorted accordingly. And therefore one must understand that these things are only partial relative manifestations of the supreme truth. That is the supreme truth, the sun, in this example. And all the photographs, different photographs of the sun, they are the relative truths. So, what we get through our sense organs is only a relative truth. So, this relative truth is when you see that it will, if you follow that, it gradually leads you to the absolute truth. So, that absolute truth is the object of meditation. In this whole scripture, through various stories, what is implied is that we all have to keep on meditating on the supreme truth. The God is the supreme truth. God is truth. Truth is God. So, we were seeing this story last time. A question was asked about, how those demons and the devas, means the angels or demigods, they both are progeny of one divine principle, but yet it is why you see the God is partial, seen to be partial. He harms the demons and brings victory to devas. Why so? And this was asked by the king Parikshit. So Shuka said, let me tell you this story of how the demons as well as the angels, it depends, those who are demons does not mean that they will not get liberated. For everybody there is the way for liberation. And he says the similar question was raised long ago. This shows that this book was written after Mahabharata. So Mahabharata was already known then. So here Shuka alludes to that story, that incident when Rajasuya sacrifice was being performed. And during that Rajasuya sacrifice, Krishna was given the position of the supreme patron of the whole organizing the whole sacrifice event. And nobody objected except Shishupala. Shishupala started abusing Krishna, that in the presence of so many these luminaries here, so many other demigods, even there is the presence of great sages, and this who was just a cowherd boy and then did lot of evil things in life, he has been given this high position and kept on hurling abuses at Krishna. And there was the countdown as it were going on, It is Shishupala was, when Krishna, he was related as cousin. So it was Krishna assured his aunt that this looks like my enemy. But she requested, oh dear, why? Won't you spare him? Krishna said that, okay, for you, I will spare his 100 crimes. So, and Shishupala's mother was very much assured that, oh, she said, why this little one is going to commit 100 crimes against you? So nothing will happen. But then he started making various inimical behaviors came about Krishna. This Shishupala was trying to hurt Krishna in every way and went into the camp of Kamsa and Jarasandha. So, and his number of crimes was increasing. And this day, when this Rajasuya sacrifice was on, thousands of people were assembled there. He started hurling abuses on Krishna one after another, and it appears that the count was going on. Okay, now it is 100 is over, 101, and then the wheel weapon of Krishna, Sudarshana Chakra, it just went and severed the head of Shishupala. If the story had remained just there, well, Krishna killed so many demons, this also. But very surprisingly, everybody witnessed this great thing, that the spirit of Shishupala, this terrible demon, came and merged in Krishna. And then there were the sages present, and Narada was asked by Yudhishthira, the king of the Pandavas, who was actually conducting this sacrifice. So, that how this Shishupala, who hated Krishna all the time, how his his soul got merged with that of Krishna, in spite of this terrible hatred that he had. So many saintly people, so many these devotees keep on meditating on Krishna and still find it hard to get that unification with Krishna. And look at this demon. He got that. So do you mean that this God wants to tell that, come on, be a demon, and then you will be liberated? Does it not tell that all those evildoers, they seem to fare better than these virtuous people? Why this Shishupala, how could he get emancipation? So, that it is, this story that it is, Narada tells that all that matters is the one pointed thought about God. One pointed thought concentrated on God. Even if considering God as your enemy, it doesn't matter. Whatever way you are thinking of God, my terrible enemy, okay, the thought goes on only about God then. Please remember, this is not a path that is advocated. What? Jitendra, don't start thinking that, okay, so from now on I will consider God as my enemy. No, that is not what is advocated. But it is told that there are exceptional cases. This is not exactly told in the what is called the 9 various forms of devotion that we had discussed before. It is not told that, okay, one form will be to keep on hating God. That is not told. But if somebody has such single-minded animosity towards God, you see, the mind goes to the enemy a lot. If that is why Jesus told that if you have a gift to offer at the altar, but if you have something against your brother, first go to your brother and make peace and then offer. Otherwise, what will happen is, even though you are offering the gift to God, your mind will be thinking about that enemy. The lot of our mind gets drawn by hatred to somebody. Imagine, the person who hates somebody, every now and then will keep on grinding the teeth and saying, oh, this fellow, down with him and all that. It is, so the enemy, being enemy, is of God. That is also thinking about God. It is, but commonly we will not be able to do that, thinking about God. The idea God will just drop off. You will not be able to think of God as your enemy. Because what is the idea of God that we have? It is that God is compassionate, all-pervading, my true nature, and so forth, and never that God is terrible and God should be killed and God should be eliminated. Can one think like that? Not possible. Means the very idea that we have about God, that contradicts it. And so it is not easy to think of God as enemy. But there are some exceptions. These exceptions prove something, that if the mind is going constantly to God, that factor is the constant one. That either through the service to God, either through worship of God, either through reading the scriptures or singing the glories. So many ways are there. But the mind should go to God. Yena kena prakarena, as it is said that by whatever means connect to God. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that look, if it is a sweet bread, whether you eat it from this side or that side, whether you break it into pieces or eat it as whole, the taste remains the same. The same substance is going inside you, same taste is also being felt. So, similarly, think of God in whatever way you can. It should be thought of God. So, even as enemy, but that should be constant. Not that for 5 minutes I have animosity, for 5 minutes I forget God, somebody else become my enemy, not like that. It is constantly thinking about God. So that is also a form of devotion. And this Shishupala had that, constantly thinking about God. So Yudhishthira gave an example of Vena. Vena just there insulted God. And then he was pushed to hell. Hey, you are insulting God? And look at this Shishupala and his brother Dantavaktra. The story of Dantavaktra will come. Even the story of Shishupala in great details will come in the 10th volume. But here it is quoted to show that it is the power of connection with God in any form. Whatever form it may be, if you get connected with God, that's it. So Yudhishthira asks, look, he started this Shishupala as soon as he learnt how to prattle as a child. Since then he has been hurling abuses at Krishna. And how did these traducers of God not only escaped hell, but while we were all looking on, they got united with the Lord? All thousands of people assembled for that great ceremony saw with wonder that Shishupala's spirit got united with God. So please explain the rationale of this. I don't understand. I need explanation. And Narada replies there, the embodied state is meant for experience of these contradictory conditions. This is a great philosophical truth, that we are embodied, means consider I as the body. That is the meaning of embodied. That I and body, they have become identical. This heap of flesh, blood and so forth is I. Now how this connection came about, who knows? And if we think about it, it is certainly a wrong connection. But we are caught in that wrong connection, and as a sign that it is a wrong connection, we see contradictions here. Everything is contradictory. Life and death. Our living means what? Dying to every day. To the end is death. So our marching towards death gets the name living. Contradictory. We go for pleasures and suffer. Yeah, it is contradictory. All such contradictions are there, good and bad. Somebody, I used to know our idea as relative truths. It was emphasized at school and at home that smoking is bad. Smoking is bad. And then hearing about this, I got the idea that a person who smokes must be a terribly evil person. It is not that smoking is good. I don't even now think that smoking is good. But that doesn't mean that a person who smokes will have everything bad about that person. I saw many smokers as I became acquainted with many, and certainly while they were smoking, I didn't like, but I saw many of them have certain virtues that I don't have. They are good in many other ways. So you see, it is good and bad, contradictory. They all stay together. We ourselves, if we look at ourselves, sometimes we behave well, do good things, but are we good? A very questionable situation, that no, like the children, that it is had come and their school had brought them and to just give some idea about how Hinduism is. So I was chatting with them, and then now at that level to teach certain religious truths means you have to bring it, the morality and good and bad. So I was talking to them and said, good, we should be good, isn't it? Are you good? Are you good always? And then one little girl, she made these hands. Means sometimes I am good, not all the time. It was very nice the way that the little girl is expressed that sometimes, yes, I am good, sometimes I am not good. I myself understand it is that I shouldn't have done what I did, and so forth. So therefore, this is contradictory, but it is with us. Friends and foes. We see the one who was friend became foe. That also in children you find it very obviously, that some differences, some distinct fight, they become quickly, the friendship turns into animosity that lasts for 5 minutes, again they become friends and so forth. So it is like that in the politics and international relations. Somebody is friend today, enemy tomorrow. So it is contradictions, but this is the human life. This is the life. Contradictions. Why? It is the result of being embodied. This is the basic contradiction, that the consciousness, which is unchanging, gets tied with the matter that is name of change. That's all. It keeps on changing. And so that contradiction peters down into every aspect of embodied person. And religion is the way to get rid of this identification and get rid of contradictions. We don't like contradictions. In fact, in mathematics there is, and even in the that is again another way of using logic. The law, the legal arguments. To refute, you use that look at the contradictions there. That there is contradiction means you have to give up your assumption. In mathematics, it is used as a method of proving something. If a theorem is to be proved, one method used is assume that its negation is true. And then show that that assumption leads to contradiction. And why this contradiction then came? Because of this assumption. So discard the negation of the theorem, and that makes that theorem proved. So this is that reductio ad absurdum. That is how this method sometimes gets called. So if you see that you are body, then contradiction, love and hate. You love somebody today, and that very person, about that you get hatred also. Why? But it is the everyday experience. Now love and hate are contradictory, but then you see there is simultaneous existence. So Narada says that this is the way that this embodied souls have to get these experiences, so that they would see that this state of embodiment is wrong. I have to kick that state out. And thus they turn to the God, who is the supreme truth. There is no contradiction in God. So that is why we said that there is nothing apart from truth. God is truth. And so there is no contradictions involved in God. Assimilates everything, assumes various forms without changing. So it is this embodied state is meant for experience of these contradictory conditions. We had seen earlier the example of Prahlada. It's a very illuminating story. He was born of the demon Hiranyakashipu, whose name again in this today we want to look at that name also, Hiranyakashipu. And then, but he was devoted to God. What can be done? So he was sent to school by his father, and the teachers were all very well trained to teach the young ones that Hiranyakashipu is the only Lord, he is the king, he is everything, no God, no other thing like God, kick it out. So no God but Hiranyakashipu. But Prahlada was not always chant the name of Narayana. So Prahlada, he once when the teachers were away for some reason, he collected all students and said, oh, let us see, let us make good use of our time. We have this human life is short, just about 100 years. And he said, he gave a very good account, let us do some accounting of the time available to us. How much time do we have? He said, take out, when you are very little baby, you have no freedom, you simply cry, this, that's all. That part, some about 10 years can be just from 100 taken out. Then when you become old, again the memory and all problems, you cannot live meaningfully in last some of the years. Okay, they also can be safely taken out. Then the remaining whatever years are, half of that gets spent in sleeping and taking care of the body and all that. So that half can be taken out. Remaining part how much time we spend in useless playing about, and so and then he says that, and what the remaining part we spend in useless activity to get more pleasure and discard pain. That is what the life is about. Get more pleasurable things. Yes, oh, this looks nice. Let me go and buy one for me. Always we are looking for various things, collecting them, and so forth, and push aside the pain. But he pointed out to one truth, that it is a useless activity, because the moment you consider yourself as a body, you are going to get pleasures and pains according to your karma. So what you are already going to get, why spend efforts on that? Is it wise to spend efforts on that which you are sure to get already? No, obviously, no brainer that it is, yes, it is useless to spend efforts on that which is already assured. So by being in a particular body, the pleasures and pains, you get it by virtue of being embodied. You cannot just go for getting pleasure. You will get corresponding pain also. They are obverse and reverse of the same coin. Go to get more pleasure, be prepared to get more pain. What, Charlie? You don't seem to agree. You agree? Okay, yeah. It is. So, is it then worthwhile to run for more pleasure? No. But this is how we learn that the state of embodiment is not the real desirable state. We must see that we are not this body. So, this further he clarifies, due to identification with the physical body, living beings suffer physical pains and insults. Yeah, insults means pain is for the body, insult is for the mind, which hurts more, when the person, more sophisticated a person, feels more pain. Why that fellow should say like this to me? Now that fellow said and finished. That person may not be even thinking about it, but the one to whom it is said keeps on thinking about it for a week, feeling the pain. It is like somebody gave you a slap. Nobody is giving, but it is, suppose somebody gives you a slap. Now that is one blow you got. Now remembering it means every time you are giving one more slap to yourself. Oh, why did he do? So you remember it. Why did he slap me like that? And it is with physical pain, it is, comes and goes, it is very quickly. But the mind, somebody said a bad word to you, out of some other compulsion, whatever reason it may be, but we hold on to it for maybe decades. That fellow said like this to me. It is, so this is, but Supreme Being is free from such identification. No, my body, and therefore can get into any body. All bodies are the bodies of that Supreme Being, as we recite in that beautiful Purusha Suktam, that all heads are the heads of that Supreme Being. Thinks through all heads. And we feel that, okay, I think from this head, Krishna thinks that he thinks from that head. So it is like that. Yona may say that, oh, that is my head, I think only from that head. But actually the being is one only. The same being uses all heads to think, all feet to walk, all hands to work. Sahasra Shirsha Purushah Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishthad Dashangulam. So this is that one being has no particular identification with any body. So it is what is important, Narada further describes that the mind is constantly fixed on God. And then you merge with God. It does not matter whether it is due to antagonism or friendliness, fear or love, lust or any other passion. Through any of these, one should cease to be aware of anything but Him, the God. Just be aware of God alone. And that is merging with God. So even if you are doing it with the idea of animosity or antagonism, that is also fine. And an example is given there. I don't know, this is maybe anecdotal, that an insect, a worm confined to a mold on the wall by an insect. You see many these molds sometimes on a wall. It is said that an insect puts it over a worm. And then that worm, as it were, it is a lot of it is imagination, keeps on thinking in anger and fear that why this insect confined me here in this mold. I was walking free, but that insect put that mold on me, and so I cannot move now. So with anger, he keeps on thinking about that insect. This worm thinks of insect constantly. And then that is a biological fact, that the worm becomes that insect and flies out. So it is. So similarly, this demon keeps on thinking about God with animosity, constantly inimical to God. And thus, through that what happens? Constant thinking only of God. And thus finally becomes the insect itself. So you become God by constantly thinking about God. Your mind is filled only with God. The way of approach can be any, but the condition is constancy. Not that 5 minutes I will think about God, 5 minutes I will think of something else. Constant thinking, and that is the power of animosity. When a person becomes so inimical, then with hatred, no other thought enters. Constantly hating. We get that, you can imagine, it is that. And so there is an incident in Holy Mother's life. One devotee, now they come and salute, touch their forehead to the feet. One devotee banged the forehead on her toe. Oh, and she had pain, Hey! Why did you do? It was asked to him, because he said because of the pain that I caused, Holy Mother will remember me. So it is because with pain you tend to remember more. This is what caused pain to me. And when it becomes a constantly thinking of that, then you finally become that thinking about God, thinking about God. Then one becomes that. For almost none of us, this path is of any practical use. But the idea is to emphasize that, okay, think of any emotion. God is my reality. God is real. If that thought becomes constant, we will merge in God. God is my beloved. Now this beloved idea means you want your beloved to be always close to you. Now, as embodied being, there is a lot of limitation in closeness. You cannot become really very close. And if you try to become, it becomes painful. So you cannot really become very close as bodies. So what is the way out? That closeness, the feeling of that love and thinking about, yes, I love. So you lose your body consciousness, and thus you merge in that divine oneness. As body you cannot. So love can be fulfilled only when you see that you are not body. So this is the way that it is. So what happened? And then he says that actually, look at the story. In their previous life, Shishupala and his brother Dantavaktra were Jaya and Vijaya. This story we had seen previously also, but in this context we will very briefly repeat it, that Jaya and Vijaya were serving as the guards at the door of Vaikuntha, the place where God is supposed to live, Vaikuntha. That it is a state of awareness, living close to God. And there are various types of liberations described in the scriptures. One is called Salokya Mukti, means live in the same abode as God lives. So that Vaishnavas, they call that abode as Vaikuntha. Those who worship Shiva, they call it Kailasa, and so forth. So it is that I and God, we are one, means we live in the same city, we live in the same city. Yeah, so you feel, oh, my city, it is so good. So you start feeling that I and that came from the same place. So I live in the same town where God lives. So it is called the Salokya type liberation, living on the same plane. We still are different, but we live in the same place. So that is one, Salokya, or live in the same house. It is that there is that joke that two people, one older, one younger, were in the same train. Another gentleman was there, and these two, they started talking. That, oh, where do you come from? Oh, I come from this. Oh, I also come from that same town. Which street you live? Oh, I live on this street. I too live on this same street. Oh, what is your house number? So and so. Oh, I also live in the same, my house is that's the same number. And then the other listener, he got very curious and asked, oh, then you must know each other. Then one of them looks at that fellow and said, hey, we father and son are just talking, discussing to kill our time. You know, it is boring journey. So, it is. So, you come closer, same, that kind of mukti. I and God, we are related, you know. It is. Then there is this sarupya mukti. Sarupya means this, they have the same form. Look same, there is not distinction, the form is same. Then there is the Sayujya Mukti, that it is, you become one with God. So, there are these other types also are told, 4 types are told, I told you 3. But that is, the idea is that they stopped these 4 first-born sages, children of the Brahma. When Brahma in one form started creation, these were the first ones to come out. They remain children always. The idea is they don't change. They are always children. They are people of tremendous knowledge and devotion and all the spiritual qualities. So Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana and Sanat Kumar, they were just going to Vaikuntha, just to see the Lord as it were. And then there were these 2 guards. The guards, they have to guard, you know, nobody should get in unless they have the authority. So they obstructed them. Hey, you can't go there inside. And why? Because you are naked, you are children, you cannot go there. So these sages, they saw that they are only looking at the external, looking at the body only, and so they are not fit to be in this hallowed place of Vaikuntha. So they cursed these guards that you will be born as demons. You are not fit to be the servants of God. You will be born as asuras. Asura means one who is identified with body. So in a way, almost all of us are what? Demons, asuras, identified with body. Those who want, you can read the story in the Chandogya Upanishad, that Indra and Virochana. So it is. Now, so you may go to that species which is fit for you and go become asuras. But then they took pity and then said that, okay, we limit it to you only for 3 births. Then you will again unite with God. So the first birth was when they were born as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Then their second birth was Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And then the third, the last one was Shishupala and Dantavaktra. They completed these 3 demonic births and then merged with God. That is how the story goes. So the idea is that we have to get rid of this terrible identification because of which we become demons. That I am this body. That is the wonderful message. We shall continue the discussion next Friday. the God remains untouched, It is that you merge with God. God absorbs everything. God has no these I like or I dislike, nothing. That remains unchanged like ocean. So, let us conclude with this closing chant, and then if you have any questions, feel free to ask. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. O devotees, quaff, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any question? She has a question, Jitu. She came after a long time.
On this note of just remembering God constantly, is chanting a mantra mechanically the same thing?
Chanting the
mantra.
It helps. It is. That is why people take a mantra. From a guru they take a mantra. That is one reason that it is told you should take it from a teacher, because otherwise there will be no concentration. You will take one mantra today, another tomorrow, and third some other day. It becomes a great help to learn to gradually concentrate and think only about God. Patanjali describes this power of mantra, that tad japas tadartha bhavanam. He says that you have to do the chanting of that mantra, repetition of the mantra, and every time connect it to the meaning of the mantra. So thus you merge with the meaning of the Brahma, that meaning of the mantra. Any other question? You have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, then after that, Sangeeta.
Yeah. What about reading a variety of religious points of view if you enjoy reading about the way different people relate to God?
Yeah. They have to relate in different ways, They will merge in God.
I mean, for the person like me who's reading all these different...
Yes, nothing wrong in that. But hold on to your one path, You can look at the different airliners, and then what you do? According to your need, your convenience, according to the prices that they offer, you choose one. So that is how, and everybody chooses, according to their likes, their convenience, and so forth. Otherwise, only one airliner would have run. You see, all of them are running; they all make profits. So that means, similarly, all different religions. One religion is useful for you, another religion may be useful for Krishna, another for our John sitting there. It is fine, no problem with that.
Pranam Swamiji. So just a follow-up on her question. Just a follow-up on her question. What if you are repeating a mantra and you're by chanting a mantra all the time, but your thoughts are, oh, I have to cook this, I have to do that, I have to go grocery shopping, and your mind is somewhere else. So what is the...
You make an attempt, that is the mantra gives you See, there are the levels of gradual concentration. You may not attain it in one day. Some like Sri Ramakrishna, just like that. Totapuri told him concentrate, and he merged in the samadhi. They didn't need any to do away the distractions. Only he had one distraction. That Totapuri told his guru that, okay, remove all digressions from mind. So all the objects of perception all vanished. Only the Mother Kali's picture came. That was his object of worship, adoration. Mother Kali was Brahman for him. So, but he then thought of knowledge as the sword. Look at that, if that is obstructing even the most beloved Mother Kali as form, is obstructing the realization of truth, you have to cut it asunder. So Sri Ramakrishna says, I thought the knowledge to be the sword and cut that image in two pieces, and the mind merged in God. So that is, for Sri Ramakrishna, it took just a moment. For a fellow like me, how long it takes, let us not think about it, Keep on doing. Gradually the mind will come to the state of feeling God, then having the sense that God is real. It is an evolution. First you think that God is just an idea. This world is real. But when you learn to go into spiritual practice, a change comes gradually, depending on how intensely and how sincerely we get into that practice. A change comes where you see that this world is real, but God is the controller of it. Now you see the controller, God who controls it. And then the idea, the world gets less importance, controller gets more importance. That becomes then another evolutionary step in that. Then why worry about the world? Just hold on to God. And then that God and I are same. That is how the stages of our religious awareness, they become more and more intense till we reach the goal. Yeah. And there is no time frame. No, don't ask, like this is a 2-year course, this is a 3-year course. This is not what Krishna, not like your 4-year brown course. You say, I am 2027 or 2025, Jitu is 2024. So it is like that, your course is of that type. For God realization, there is no time till you have any idea that the world is real, you are in bondage. And then the time vanishes. So how much time did it take? You cannot tell. So any question? Oh, this Ishani has a question. Usually I ask her question, she doesn't ask,
Yeah. Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam.
So my question is, like, I heard before,
Huh?
like, if someone is killed by God himself, then he or she, the person become liberated. But here it seems like in 3 births, like Ravana, and before that Hiranyakashipu, and at last Shishupala. So in each birth they killed by God himself.
Yes, because God is reality of all. It is whether he tries to realize or doesn't try. God is reality of all, even of Shishupala. It is those one Swami was telling very nicely that those who say God doesn't exist, they also first take the name of God, and say that the one who doesn't exist, God who doesn't exist. So, God is connected to all of us as our true self. If you try to see who you are God, nothing else. So that is how the God has no problem. It is, they accepts everybody. Any question upstairs?
Yes. Two web questions. First question from Anvesh Dataram Rajeshirke. Pranam Swami. When I chant Shri Guru Pyo Namaha, how come very quickly you come to help me along with Ramakrishna?
Yeah, well, because that is how the Guru is. The Guru is someone with whom you connect first to get the connection with God. So that is how the Guru comes to our help. With Guru we have a more personal connection. The God is God for everybody, but Guru is my key to get there. It is so that is how the Guru comes to our rescue. Guru gets connected to us when we say salutations to Guru. So that is the special feature about the Guru and God.
Second question from Taraswin.
Yes, Taraswin, namaskar.
Revered Maharaj, why do devotees yearn to go to realm of Ishta but are uncomfortable with the idea of mukti or nirvana? Are these two states materially different?
Please repeat that part. Okay. I could not hear.
Why do devotees yearn to go to realms of Ishta?
Yeah.
But are uncomfortable with the ideas of mukti or nirvana?
Yes,
because are these two states materially different?
They are different. In the other stages, that you feel that okay, there is God and there is I. You still retain a sense of separateness. It is, and devotees still, because the identification, that separate I, is so strong, we don't want to be merged with God or be in nirvana, that God and I. So it is, that has some connection with our worldly life, I and the world. So the world only gets replaced by God, I and God. So that is initially liked by the devotees. But then you merge with God, that is nirvana. And then there is another state which is described in the scriptures, that without losing this sense of unity, one experiences this apparent I and you. It is in life of many saints, you see that they are merged with God, and yet they talk to God as if I and you are there. You can see with Sri Ramakrishna, he is talking to Mother Kali, that I and you, okay, and thus there it is a different state. The common that liking to go to the divine realm, that is certainly a state that is not the state of nirvana, but this other state, what is beyond even the so-called non-duality, non-dual experience. That duality is without giving up this idea of nirvana or oneness. It is, that is described in scriptures, yes. So let us conclude with our regular closing chant. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol, Keshava Madhava Hari Hari Bol. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol, Keshava Madhava Hari Hari Bol. Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Krishna Krishna Bol, Krishna Krishna Bol. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol, Keshava Madhava Hari Hari Bol. Keshava Madhava Hari Hari Bol.